after a year that felt like one earthquake after another, from massive courtroom dramas to a complete leadership overhaul, the National Association of Realtors has just dropped its first ever annual report. Now, this isn't just some boring document. It's an 80-page playbook for their future. And today, we're going to tear it down and see what it really means for the entire industry. Okay, right out of the gate, this slide tells you everything you need to know. The NAR we all knew, the one that was all about agent culture and identity, that's changing, and it's changing fast. The new focus is all business all the time. We're talking transactions, broker relationships, and a huge emphasis on managing risk. Believe me, this is not just a little tweak. It's a complete rewrite of who they are. So here's our game plan. First, we're going to rewind and look at the absolute chaos of the last year that forced this massive change. Then we'll dive right into the new playbook itself. We'll look at the huge pivot towards brokers and unpack why this strategy feels a lot more like defense than offense. And finally, we'll piece it all together and see what the path forward looks like. To really get where NAR is heading, you first have to understand the storm they just sailed through. And I'm not kidding. This wasn't just a tough year. For them, it was a full-blown existential crisis that demanded a massive response. And what a year it was. I mean, this timeline really tells the whole story. It kicked off with the enormous fallout from those commission lawsuits, right? That led to a domino effect of major leadership changes, deep internal restructuring, and all of it culminated with the new CEO, Nike Wright, basically saying, okay, we need a new era of accountability, and announcing this very report. All right, so let's get into the report itself. NAR is really pushing this thing as their official answer to all the chaos. It's their roadmap to find some stability and prove they're still relevant in this new post-settlement world. Just look at how fundamental these goals are. We are not talking about flashy moonshot projects here. This is all about rebuilding the house from the studs up, restoring trust, getting the finances in order, and just trying to figure out what it even means to provide value to members anymore. It is a true back-to-basics, get-your-house-in-order strategy. And this right here is the absolute heart of the new playbook. The language they're using has done a complete 180. Gone are all those lofty ideas about the culture of being an agent. That's been replaced by these very pragmatic, almost corporate-sounding priorities: business, transactions, and risk. This is NAR waking up to a much, much harsher reality. Now, if there's one theme that screams out from this new playbook, it's this one. The organization is making a massive, undeniable pivot toward brokerages. And hey, don't just take my word for it. The report says it loud and clear. Brokers aren't just another group to them anymore. They are now the central partners. It's obvious NAR knows it needs the big brokerages on its side to get its message out, to align on policy, and to keep membership numbers stable. And you might be wondering, is this just talk? Well, the numbers are saying no. They've seen a nearly 22% jump in attendance for their new broker sessions. Clearly, the brokers are listening. And the scale of this effort is just huge. By meeting directly with execs who represent 700,000 agents, NAR is being super efficient about rebuilding its influence from the top down. You know, this whole move also happens to fix a major sore spot. For years, some of the most powerful brokerage leaders out there have criticized NAR, saying they act more like a gatekeeper or even a competitor than a partner. So this whole shift to being a service partner feels like a direct olive branch to heal some of those very public wounds. Okay, so while NAR is busy rebuilding relationships, there's another part of its strategy that's all about building a fortress. And when we look at the MLS, the playbook is crystal clear. This is about playing defense, not launching daring new innovations. I mean, you can practically see the lawyer's checklist here. The logic is just perfectly linear. This wasn't about making the MLS better for users. It was a cold, calculated legal strategy. They reviewed everything. Their lawyers flagged the MLS rules as a huge liability, so they changed the rules specifically to lower that antitrust risk. They even pushed enforcement down to the local level to distance themselves further. And this new policy, it's the poster child for that legal review. Sure, it's framed with nice language about clarifying seller choice, but let's be real. The report's own context makes it obvious that its #1 job is to protect NAR from future lawsuits. You know, what's missing from the report is almost as telling as what's in it. You're not going to find any chapters on groundbreaking new tech or some revolutionary consumer experience for the MLS. Nope, the focus is 100% on internal stuff: consistency, compliance, alignment. It is all about battening down the hatches. So, with such a heavy internal focus on brokers and legal defense, what does that leave for NAR's mission out in the real world? Let's take a look at what the path forward looks like. Well, here's one thing that hasn't changed one bit: NAR's political muscle. We're talking over 5,000 meetings on Capitol Hill last year alone. Their lobbying and policy game remains as aggressive as ever. And these right here are the battlefronts they're fighting on. Everything from huge national issues like housing supply and tax incentives, all the way down to getting realtor-friendly candidates elected at the state and local levels. Oh, and funding over 1,000 advocacy grants. This is the one part of NAR that is definitely not in retreat. So that really brings us to the billion-dollar question, doesn't it? NAR has placed its bet. It's shifting from an association of agents to a strategic partner for brokers. It's choosing legal defense over bold innovation. The question for all of us is, in this completely new era for real estate, is this defensive broker-first strategy the one that's actually going to work?